Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me again. Today I'm going to go ahead and talk about WandaVision. Not only did we get one episode, we got two episodes, and it was great. I hope you stick around. I'm going to go ahead and speak about the episode, do a recap, give my impressions, gonna talk about what I love most about the show, the theories that I have in regards to what we've seen so far. So thank you for joining me and stick around. Like I mentioned, we got two episodes. The episodes are about 30 minutes long. They did take the format of the sitcom approach. I was very familiar with what they were going for, which was awesome. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I will say that Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany did an amazing job in these two episodes. They were very funny. I mean, their range in acting is great. I really love Elizabeth Olsen. She has all these expressions. She's just great with the way she expresses herself. There are different moments throughout the shows, throughout the two episodes, where you can kind of see different emotions being portrayed by her. You know, there are moments of laughter, joy, fear, suspense, where she doesn't even know what's going on. And Paul Bettany, I mean, he was great. I don't know if he's ever done comedy. I know in the Marvel movies that he's been in, he's had those, quick, funny moments, those quips, which he's done very well. Their performances were awesome. They had a cast of supporting characters that had a lot of chemistry with one another. I believe that what they were trying to go for, as far as it being a sitcom, worked out really well. You get lost in the sitcom feel of it, right? You're watching it, it's very lighthearted, you're laughing, you're enjoying it, but then there are these moments where it becomes strange. There's something going on behind the scenes. We don't know what it is yet, but there's something going on. From the moment in the first episode where they're trying to figure out what today is, they can't remember. They don't remember where they came from. They're confused. They know they're together and they know they're supposed to be married, but are they married? And Vision, when he was working, he was trying to figure out what they did there. And there's this whole mystery. It's almost as if everyone has a fog over them, where certain things happen and they don't know why it's happening, where it's coming from. And in episode 1, where they're having Vision's boss over for dinner, there's this one scene when they're at the table eating. His boss's wife is asking questions about where they met, where they came from. Wanda and Vision can't seem to answer those questions because they just don't know. So the husband jumps in and he's like, well, why did you come here? Why are you here? You kind of sense that aggression come through, and his wife is like, stop it. And that's when he starts choking on that strawberry. But as the wife is saying, stop it, she kind of looks over at Wanda. Wanda is just serious, and she's just sitting there almost frozen, paralyzed, not knowing what to do. And she just tells Vision very seriously, Vision, help him. And then Vision goes in and gets the strawberry out. And all of a sudden, they just kind of almost reset. Oh, I'm very proud of you. You're management material. I'll see you on Monday. And they just kind of go on about their business. So it was very mysterious, very strange. Again, I can't help but say strange because, we all know that this is going to connect to the multiverse of madness. We just need to wait and see how it's going to connect. One moment you're enjoying the sitcom and you're enjoying the lightheartedness of it. The next moment you get something odd, like a helicopter that's in color. It's red and yellow. It has the sword symbol on it, right? And then Wanda's trying to figure out, well, what is this? It's very odd to her. For those that don't know what SWORD is, they're the counterpart to SHIELD, Sentient World Observation and Response Department. And they usually deal with extraterrestrial threats, and I'm wondering if this is such a big threat that Sword had to get involved since Shield no longer exists. You have these small moments where you have the color red, almost as a thematic color throughout the episode. You see the color red again in the second episode where her neighbor got cut with the glass and her blood came out and it was red, and again after that she kind of almost reset. And the commercials, and you know, let's talk a little bit about the two commercials in the two episodes. In the first episode, it was the commercial about the toaster, and they were going over what the toaster does, you know, and you see the color red and there's this beep, and what is it and why is it red? You see that the toaster is made from Stark Industries. And then there's the phrase that reads, "Forget your past, this is your future." Is this a subliminal message to keep Wanda sedated? The woman in the commercial even looked at the toaster side-eyed, which was again sort of that mysterious, strange feel to what the heck is going on here. The second commercial, it's again the same actor and actress that did the first commercial, but they're talking about a watch, and the watch is from Strucker. What's interesting is, and you know, this could be taken in different ways, but what's interesting is that Stark, he is the creator of Vision, and then Strucker was the creator of Wanda and, you know, her obtaining her powers. So is that going to be the connection, or is it more towards Wanda's origin, right? Because if you go back to Age of Ultron, Wanda and her brother Pietro, they were orphaned at the age of 10. And when they told their story, it was about missile landed and, you know, there was an explosion, second missile landed and it didn't detonate. But looking at the missile, it had the name Stark on it. So in a way, Stark was part of Wanda's origin. Wanda became or led to be the person that she was because of that event. Now, we do have to see what happens in the next episode. Will there be another commercial where we get a hint of Ultron? We got some mysterious elements within them. In the second episode, when we had that guy come out of the manhole in the beekeeper outfit, I have no idea what that was. I can't even theorize who that guy is. We do see that he has the sword logo on his outfit, so I'm assuming he's, you know, a member of Sword. But who is he? They didn't really show his face, so it was a little bit difficult to make out his features, but he was certainly someone from Sword. The interesting thing to that was that Wanda just said no, and she kind of almost reversed time to prevent that from happening. So she has to be aware of who he was or who Sword is, trying to figure out if they're trying to stop her or keep her from doing what she's doing. But is she doing this intentionally? Is she being forced to do this? Because in the second episode, we see the scene where she's talking with her neighbor, and through the radio, there's a voice, you know, they're reaching out to Wanda. Wanda, who's doing this to you? Who was that mysterious person reaching out to Wanda? I mean, there's several people that we can think of. My first reaction was, oh, it sounds like Hawkeye. There's other characters that will be coming out in this show that could potentially have been the mysterious voice in the radio. Is it FBI agent Jimmy Woo? Randall Park has been confirmed to appear in the show, and Jimmy was in charge of Ant-Man Scott Lang's home arrest. And if the Sokovia Accords are still in effect, was Wanda required to do time? Was she required to serve house arrest like Ant-Man and Hawkeye did? Since at the end of Civil War, Captain America rescued her, released her from the raft, she was on the run since then. And then after Endgame happened, she came back from being dusted, and she was at the funeral, and so was General Ross. And if the Sokovia Accords are still in play, I'm wondering if there was this conversation of, hey Wanda, you know, you still haven't served your time, let's work something out. And that's potentially where Jimmy Woo comes into play. You get hit with these little mysterious moments, and then you kind of get lost in that, because now you're trying to figure out what's going on here, and you lose track that it is a sitcom. So they're trying to bring you back into that. So you're kind of going from one feeling, one emotion to the other. You then have this sense of suspense and mystery and what the heck is going on. So they did a really good job setting this up. At the end of the first episode, you see that there was someone watching them, through a monitor, as if they were watching TV. They kind of turn off the monitor. You see a pair of hands. I believe they belong to a woman. Who is it? Maybe it's Darcy. We know it's been confirmed that Kat Dennings is going to be coming out in this show, so potentially it could be her working for S.W.O.R.D. So if not her, then who? And why are they being watched? Are they being monitored? Is this sort of like the Truman Show?
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Where Wanda and Vision don't know what's going on, and they're being observed, they're being monitored. She's incarcerated, and this is the only way that they can incarcerate her. Obviously, we're going to get all those details, and we're going to get that backstory. But what is going on? And why is Vision alive? Last time we saw Vision, he was destroyed by Thanos. The Mind Stone was removed from his head. He lost his life. That was it. We know that Shuri was able to remove or take out Vision's, mainframe or AI. So we still have to see what came out of that. We never really got confirmation from that. We thought we were going to see the aftermath of that in Endgame, but we never did. Vision just never came back after that happened in Infinity War. So what did happen to Vision? What happened to his body? What happened to the memory or the AI that Shuri was able to retract? How is Vision still alive? Is he a figment of Wanda's imagination? Did she bring him back to life because of her powers? Vision even turned monochrome, sort of grayed out when Thanos killed him. Are the episodes being black and white a reference to Vision's death? If you recall, when Vision saw that Wanda was pregnant, he was the very first one to start turning color, and I'm wondering if that's because Wanda is trying to pull him back into the real world or bring him back to life. Is there a connection there between Vision's death and the black and white episodes? So was Wanda's pregnancy a spark for Vision, and is he potentially coming back to life as we see the story progress and we went from black and white sitcom to now a colored world? We've gotten so accustomed to seeing Wanda and Vision in the Avengers and the story, the way it played out, and we're wondering, okay, what's going on here? I mean, this is still part of the MCU. This is still based on the comic book. If you're familiar with the comic books, you know where they can be drawing the inspiration from, so I'm not going to go into too much detail on that. The one thing that I can imagine is happening is that Wanda is creating Vision. This is going on within her mind. Pietro and Wanda were orphaned at the age of 10. They lived in Sokovia. They know English very well. How did they learn that English? Well, potentially they watched a lot of TV as kids, right? And if Wanda is looking for an escape or is looking to hide, maybe she just kind of went to what was very familiar to her, growing up watching shows like Bewitched or I Love Lucy. So we're potentially going to get references to other sitcoms that we've seen, throughout the 80s, the 90s, maybe the early 2000s. And, before I wrap it up, again, I just kind of want to talk about how awesome the chemistry between Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany. I really enjoyed seeing them in Avengers, in Civil War. Their character progression and their relationship progression has been something that I've been looking forward to. So to actually see this being realized on screen is very exciting. I can't wait to see how this all ties to Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness and whatever is going on in the multiverse. I am super excited. Is Wanda gonna mess up reality bad? Is something gonna go on where whatever she's doing within this town, Westview, is it going to expand to the rest of the world? Is she going to be the cause of the mutants coming into the MCU? Are we potentially going to get Wanda, losing her mind and and becoming sort of a villain in the MCU. It's not necessarily an evil villain or an evil threat, but just someone that has lost control of her powers, which we've seen in the past. Wanda has gone through so many emotions. She lost her brother, she lost Vision, she got dusted, during the snap, and what's happened with her since Endgame. The last time we saw her was at Tony's funeral, speaking with Hawkeye. After that, a number of things could have happened. Some time has occurred between Endgame and this show, but what else are we going to get? And that's the exciting part about this show. So to wrap it up, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the sitcom aspect of it. I was smiling from ear to ear watching the entire 2 episodes, and I was super excited to see what's next and the mystery and what's going on behind the scenes. Who's in on it? Is Wanda the only one that's aware of what's going on? Are the neighbors aware? And what was up with For the Children? The charity event that they put together was for the children. So where are the children? They're nowhere to be found. Also, things that I noticed is the butterfly. You see a butterfly, through these episodes. You see it in the calendar when they're looking at it in the first episode. You also see it in the end credit scene. So does this have a greater significance? Does this mean that Wanda herself is going through a transformation? And do the butterflies represent Wanda's transformation? What is she transforming into? Is she cocooned within Westview? Is she becoming something else? Mysteries like this is what we're looking forward to. We want to see, is there a greater meaning to these little things that we're seeing throughout the show? The other thing that we keep on seeing is the hexagon shape. At the end of the first episode, when they're on the sofa kissing, you see the screen just kind of closing in, and it was the shape of a hexagon. Now, does this relate to Wanda's hex powers from the comics? If you're familiar with the comics, and if you're not, Wanda's powers are called hex powers, which are based on chaos magic. And chaos magic could be very destructive. Is the hexagon shape that we see throughout the show a hint at her hex powers and her chaos magic, and where is that potentially going to lead to? And one more thing that I kind of noticed, and during the end credit scenes, you see Wanda's and Vision's wedding bands connected, and they're almost in the shape of the infinity symbol. So another thing where, is it just there for the sake of being there? Does it have a deeper meaning? Are we going to see some type of connection to the Infinity Stones? Obviously, Wanda's powers derived from the Mind Stone. Vision's life and essence derived from the Mind Stone. So is this just a nod to the Infinity Stones? Or are we going to see more to that? And that's the great thing about this, where, again, you get sitcom one moment, and then you get a thriller mystery, which is very, very intriguing. What did you think of the episode? Did you like it? Did you enjoy it? What are your theories? What do you think is going on? I can be totally off, but that's the great thing about watching these shows. We get to theorize. And that's what I do like about the weekly release of the shows. It gives us a whole week to theorize and think about what's going to happen next and what happened before, how it relates to the future. And it's just an exciting time. I'm so happy that we have MCU content again. After going all of 2020 without a single MCU movie, we were supposed to get 2 and we got 0. But we are here in 2021. We're going to get a ton of content, a lot of Disney Plus shows. We're going to get a lot of movies this year and going into next year. So it's a great time to be a fan of the MCU. It's a great time to be a Marvel fan, and I'm looking forward to what's next. And thank you again for watching. Feel free to drop a comment below. Any questions, I'll be more than happy to respond. Leave your theories below. I'd be interested to hear what you think. And if you want to stay up to date with my content, subscribe, hit the notifications bell, share, and leave a thumbs up. Until next time. And that's a wrap. Excelsior.